Guys, this is Junior Ezeonu, Grand Prairie, Texas City Council member and Mayor Pro Tem, as well as Democratic candidate for Texas House District 101. And today we're going to talk about legacy, service, and the weight of where you come from. This is Sessions.
Then they call you UCC, you they laugh, baby.
Being born in Nigeria, moving here when I was 2 years old to Texas at 2 years old. My parents never forgot to tell us about where we're from and how hard they worked to get us here. So that all played a part. And seeing your parents work so hard to put food on the table, to put a roof over your heads, and just to make sure you lived a decent and comfortable life. And then having family back in Nigeria and seeing how difficult it is for people to make it through and get by. It just makes you want to work hard. And for me, being someone that was raised here, I saw the fruits of the labor of this country and all the work that this country put in to give me an opportunity. I said, I want to give back to the people that allowed me to get to where I am today. So I worked hard in school. I ran for office at 22 years old, defeated a long-term incumbent. And by the grace of God, I'm here today. So I think it's a combination of the relentless Nigerian spirit of getting it done, figuring out a way to make it work even when it shouldn't work, and then the American opportunity, the American dream, the ability to realize that dream and to know that if I put in the work, I will get the result. So my parents throughout, from childhood to college, my parents would push me, you got to be a doctor. And everybody knows the Nigerian, motto, either you're a doctor, engineer, lawyer, or you're a failure. So that's just how it goes in a Nigerian American household. But I told my parents right before I was about to start college, I want to go into politics. So they said, okay, that's fine. Just make sure you go and study law. So when I was running for city council at the age of 21, going to 22, I told my parents, if somehow I win this election by the grace of God, I'm not going to law school. I'm just going to, be a politician. They said, hey, we'll see. We'll talk about it. And then, you had different people in the Nigerian American community that would tell me, there's no money in being a council member. There's no money in local government. Tell them to go get a real job. Tell them to go, do something else. And I would tell them, this is my passion. And this is allowing me the opportunity not just to serve my community and to be a good public servant, but to inspire a generation of other leaders. There's so many young men and women that, have seen me grow as a leader that I am now and have been inspired that they can too one day serve their community, whether they are a person of color or whether they're an immigrant or whether they're just someone that comes from a humble background. They see me, Junior Ezeonu, as someone that has shown a way and that they too can participate in the political process and serve their community. So the first one is, as I was running for city council in 2021, I was a 21-year-old going on 22 years old, and I was challenging a 12-year incumbent. And I had a lot of people tell me I had no chance of winning. And keep in mind, Grand Prairie, Texas hadn't elected an African American to the city council since the early 1990s. So for a good reason, that's why they were saying it. And I understand. And I was a young buck that not everybody knew, but I was ambitious and I was willing to work hard. And I remember one day knocking on doors, and I just had some folks that were pretty rude to me. And I was like, what's the point of this? I'm doing all this work. I'm sweating in this hot Texas sun, and I might not even win. I might do all this work and not win. But then I remembered, it took me a moment, and I remember what my why was. I remember why I got involved in politics. I remember why I decided to serve, and it just pushed me through. And then during the campaign, I had a lot of racist activity that occurred. I had people that came up to me at the polls and said, we don't need that blank here in Grand Prairie. We're fine. And I had to tell them, thank you for coming to vote today. God bless you. Have a great day. I had people that told me to go back to Africa. I had people that told me that an immigrant shouldn't run, that I can't say your last name. You shouldn't even be on the ballot. I dealt with a lot of interesting characters, but my mindset was this. I'm an American citizen. I'm blessed to live in this country. I'm blessed to be who I am, and I have the right to serve as well. If I win this election, I will serve, and I will serve at the highest level, and I'll be an amazing council member, and I'll prove a lot of people wrong. And over the course of my tenure as a city council member, I believe we've done just that. And I tell you that's an example of me tapping into my Nigerian stubbornness, just not taking no for an answer and saying, why not me? Why can't I serve as well? I'm a human being just like everybody else, and I believe I can serve better than most. I think first you remember that although it is a responsibility, it's a privilege. You're privileged to be in a position of leadership where you're impacting the lives, for me, 210,000 people every day. You're making decisions that are going to make their life better if you do it correctly. So first, it's a privilege before I even look at it as a responsibility. I'm overjoyed that I even have the opportunity to be here and to be able to serve my community and to serve for so long now. It's been amazing. I think then I remember, it's a responsibility that I am representing people, and if I do a poor job, it'll hurt the next person of color that wants to serve. There might be a perception that, Junior didn't do what he's supposed to do, so and so may not do what they need to do. So I always remember that when I'm serving, it's bigger than just me. It's bigger than just me as an individual. It's about all the people that will come after me, and also a reflection on those that came before me. I stand on the shoulders of giants, so I try not to forget that. But then I also remember I'm a human being as well. I will misspeak. I will make a mistake. I will mess up sometimes. And when I do that, I'm going to brush my shoulder off, get back up there, correct it, accept my responsibility for my flaws, and do better. So I give myself grace, understanding that I'm just a person, I'm a human being just like everybody else, but I don't hold myself to the standard that my mistakes are tolerable. I'm like, no, I can't tolerate it. I got to do better. I got to be better because my community deserves better. America gives you opportunity. In America, if you work hard, you can truly become anything. This country is an amazing country that gives you so much opportunity. Nigeria has a government that has a lot of issues. There's a lot of issues in the Nigerian government that limit the opportunity that a lot of young people should have, but they don't have as a result. Even middle-aged people that are very brilliant, people that are qualified, well qualified for high-paying jobs, just may never get the jobs because one, the jobs don't exist, or there's people that play games with these employment opportunities. So what I would tell a young Nigerian in Nigeria that's down on their luck and just feels hopeless due to the state of the country, remain resilient, remain relentless, and figure out a way. That's the one thing about that Nigerian spirit that we spoke about earlier, is that, folks will figure out a way. They'll make a way. Even whenever it seems bleak, you got to make a way. And you got to get it done. No matter how difficult, no matter how tough, we have to find a way. We have to adapt to the circumstances of our society and the place that we live. And no matter how great or no matter how poor, we got to figure it out and make a way, because we got to feed ourselves and we got to feed our families. And we got to keep a roof over our heads no matter the situation. I think for those that live here, not just in Grand Prairie, but in Texas as a whole, in America as a whole, first is that we are so blessed to live in this country and to live here where we just have basic amenities, basic infrastructure that we take for granted on a daily basis. And whenever you understand this, it makes you very appreciative of all that we have here, and it makes you protect it and keep it safe, and it makes you want to pay it forward to the next generation to make sure the next generation has not just what we have now, but has even better. And then those in Nigeria, what I would also tell them is that although the nation of Nigeria has a lot of problems, America's not a perfect place either. And we have stuff that we work on here too. So although some people in Nigeria may think that if they don't get to America or don't are not able to immigrate to the Western world that they can never make it, no, don't look at it like that. You too have the potential to become something great no matter where you are. There are people that end up becoming successful business people or successful entrepreneurs in whatever field they're in, or just civil servants, because they are relentless in their approach and say, I don't care. No one is going to hold me down. Only I can hold myself down. So that's what I would say. That's how I would build that bridge. Those that live here understanding and being grateful for all that we have. And those in Nigeria understanding that although in America we have a lot, it does not mean that we don't have our own problems, and that Nigerians are not able to also overcome the situations to create a better world for themselves. It's going to be a combination of both. You know that. So yeah, being raised and living most of my life in Texas, um, my foundation of like just basic problem solving and how we do things here, it definitely comes from my foundation in local government. Being on the city council has helped me tremendously with just trying to solve issues and understanding that you can't make everybody happy 100% of the time. Somebody will be disappointed by your decisions, and you have to accept that and do your best to help the most people that you can help. But then also that spirit that I get from my ancestors and my family members and those, in my Nigerian American culture, I it's a combination. Whenever I'm solving issues, I'm always mindful of the society that I was raised in, but also the society that bred me and made me who I am today. And I think both, when they come together, it creates a beautiful thing. And you see so many successful Nigerian Americans in Texas and across this country as well that are doing very well for themselves and find solutions to issues because of a mixture of all the great things here in this country, but also all the great things back in Nigeria that helped us get to where we are today. The biggest lie that people believe about politics is that politicians are better than them. Politicians are regular people just like anybody else. We all have emotions. We all, you know, can be disappointed about something. We're not just, we're not just stoic creatures that don't feel anything. Although I do practice stoicism, but we're not just stoic creatures that don't feel anything. We bleed just like everybody else. Our feelings can get hurt just like anybody else. And at the same time, no man is greater than any other man. What you The people that climb the ladder of politics that get to that level, whether it's being a council member, being a state representative, being a congressman, being a president, they had the audacity to believe that they could serve at that level. That's all it is. They had the audacity and the self belief that they could serve at that level. Anybody can do this work. Anybody can serve if you have the heart to serve and the willingness to work your butt off to make people's lives better. And what I do to keep myself sane in this game of politics is understanding my why. And I know why I got into politics. I know why I got in here to serve people. I know why I'm doing this work. And when I remember that why, no matter how tough the day may be, I'm able to get through it and I'm able to be the man I need to be for my community to thrive. You got to evaluate the wins and the losses. For me, every speech that I give, if I can have it recorded, I'm going over it. I'm saying, okay, what did I do here? What could I have said better? How could I have enunciated this word in a different way? How could I have delivered this speech in a way that was more captivating? When we're having policy victories or policy failures, you're analyzing what was wrong with this policy that made me lose the vote, or what was right about this policy that helped me pass it. What can I do different next time to accomplish my policy goals? So it's just self evaluation and never blaming anyone else but yourself. I always tell people, if you want to succeed, to get to whatever level you want to go to, you have to look internally. Stop blaming the external forces. Stop blaming the people on the outside. Stop blaming this thing could have been like this, or this thing should have been like this, or this thing would have been like this. None of that matters. What matters is what you can do. You control what you can control and leave everything else to God. Control what you can control and leave everything else to God. So that's what I do. And not every day is the best day ever, and some days are better than others. But I always look internally and try to see what I can do a little bit better to fix it, no matter if I did great today or if I did poorly. I always want to be a little bit better the next day. I call myself a change maker. I want to get up in there, mix it up, and move this world, this country, this state, our communities in a more progressive direction where everyone has an opportunity to make it. Not everybody's going to make it, but everyone has an opportunity to make it. So I don't get in there and try to fit in with the status quo. The status quo was never, really my thing, and never really supported me to begin with. So I believe the best way to move our country forward, to make our place a better place for everybody, is for change. We need change across the board. You need new thinkers. You need people that are willing to break the glass ceiling, that are willing to say no to the way that the game has been played. If we don't have those figures, if we don't have people that are relentless and people that are willing to try something new, we can never progress. Innovation comes out of folks that say, this system ain't working the way I want it to work. Let me try it this way. And when you have innovation, you have progress. So that's how I see myself. I don't see myself as just an ambassador to the way the system has been played and the game has been played for decades or centuries. Rather, I'm trying to create a new system where everyone has an opportunity to play and have a better life for themselves. Number one is remembering my roots, remembering the work that my parents put in to get me to where I am today, get our whole family to where we are today. I can never forget that. And I'll never forget where I come from. Both being a Nigerian American, someone that was born in Nigeria, moved here when I was 2 years old, to living in Arlington, Texas, then moved into Grand Prairie when I was 16 years old. These communities as a whole shaped me into the man that I am today. I've been blessed. I've been blessed. And when I come down to the state capitol and I'm serving in the House chamber by the grace of God, I'll know that I have big shoes to fill because these shoes that I'm wearing cover a lot of land, cover a lot of ground, cover many places. And by the grace of God, I'll be able to serve well and to fight for my constituents and to fight for what's right for everybody. That's why I'm running for the state house. That's why I'm running to be a state representative, because I want to create a world where the reality of our future is attainable today. We're too, we get so comfortable with dreaming about what the future may have, but we often forget that we can make the future a reality today, in the present. But it takes visionary leaders and it takes people that are willing to step out of the norms and to push the boundaries and are willing to just say, no to the way the game has been played and the way that the system is now. And that's the kind of guy that I want to be. And that's the kind of guy that I am. And that's how I've served on the city council. That's how I plan on serving as a state representative. What do I want people to learn about themselves by watching how I move? I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to take a chance on yourself. I want you to take that risk that seems so daunting and so scary, but you would regret it if you didn't take that risk. I want you to look in the mirror and say that I too am qualified. I too can do this. I too can achieve, no matter what my disadvantage may be. The biggest disadvantage is sometimes just in your brain. It's just in your mindset. So I want you to believe that you can accomplish anything, that you can stand before any man, that you can do what they have done and do it even better. Because that's how I look at my life. I'm blessed to be here. I'm grateful. I've lived an amazing life for 26 years so far. And I've had ups and I've had downs. But the one thing that I don't do is give up. And the one thing that I don't do is shut up. And the one thing that I don't do is put up. Because I believe that I too am qualified to do anything that I put my brain and my mind to. And if I'm willing to put in the work and I'm willing to stay prayed up, it'll come to pass and it'll come to fruition. So I would tell you, if you are looking at how I'm doing what I'm doing, believe in yourself, be willing to bet on yourself, and go make a name for yourself. Thank y'all for the opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to come on sessions. It's been an amazing conversation. I love Lagos Living. I bought some of my first merch back in 2022. Um, you know, I'm very proud to see the progression. And I know how hard it is and how much work it takes when you're betting on yourself, when you're betting on a brand and you're investing your hard earned money to build something that you hope others will appreciate. And I just want to tell you guys, I'm beyond proud of you. I'm going to keep supporting you because I believe in supporting local businesses. I believe in supporting folks on the ground that are trying to build something, not just for themselves, but for our community as a whole. So keep up the good work. Keep betting on yourselves. Keep believing in yourselves. And I'll see you at the top.